I just love the airport in the early morning. Intel jet just getting ready to take off. Percy getting his morning walk. There's the tower. Look at that gorgeous moon that I got to look at all the way here. So BT5 pilots with you on a gorgeous Saturday morning. Still cold. We're getting ready to set the heater up in the hangar and give Percy his morning walk. Don't know if you can see the sun rays showing, Sue, but that sure does look pretty. And Percy likes it too. So the heater's been doing its job. We're up from 45 to about 52 now. Still got my jacket on, of course. And I did come back and get a few other things done. I put on got the wiring done here for the push to talk. And notice how I'm staggering. One of these is the male end, and the other one that goes into the right console is the female end. And I'm working on getting those pins pushed in just to show you an example of my pain. So I've got the snakeskin on, I've got it heat shrunk to hold it onto there, but then I've got a clamp holding this back so I can still see all these little labels so I can see where to push those little pins in. I've got my good LED light and that magnifying glass if I need it to help with pushing that in, and then I've got a little push pin tool that will help those pins if they're not wanting to seat correctly. I did come back and drill those holes that pass through that left console and give me the wire that's for my temperature sensor, and then also it'll end up being the transponder antenna that run through that hole. And so I've got that line run up here. When I get the wiring harness in, I'll then get that joined in with that part of the wiring harness and then the respective place that it plugs into. And those pins done. So that's what I'm working on right now, and I should have this part done, and then we're going to get on to some other back shells and prep before dropping this in. I will show you what was a source of frustration for a short period of time. So deep inside of that back shell, there's a configuration module gets used for your PFD number 1. And those little wires coming out do have a color code to them. But when you look up the pinout for the GDU 460, doesn't have the color code. And I got fortunate. If you go back and look at the pinout for I think it's the GDU 370, it's got the color code. So I was able to find the color code by just doing some searching. The other thing I need to pull the transponder back shell apart and wire in the USB. Now this USB is not for hooking up your stuff in the cockpit and everything. This is for if they ever need to update the firmware inside of that transponder. And I had to go online. I think one of the Vans Air Force posts, G3 Expert, had given the color coding, so I wrote it into the page so I can get those plugged into the right points. Okay, that's everything assembled. All the back shells, the silicone force tape correctly installed, the grounding on those drains for the shielded cable are all completed. All of these little guys are done, and they're made so I don't plug the wrong thing in. And everything's ready on this end with this part that has to go into the transponder ready to go. So yeah, that's been a fun mess. That of course means I have to pull these units out. So I've undone all the bolts that hold those in, and have the comm radio, the transponder, as well as the vertical power VPX. Had to pull all those out to get access into here. And you can see here my plan of having those step-down transformers. I can't have them there because the generator actually is going to be right on the other side of that. So those get pulled. Probably going to drill those out to where there's a little bit more in the way of cooling holes, and then design a little cooling hole system to duct some cool air from the gear well up into there. So I might run a little 1-inch or a little bit larger tube between there. So I got to pull those off, get those little rubber grommets out of there, and then make sure that I clear the ignition units when I go to put this all back in. But I'm going to start plugging some things in, and we're going to see how well it works. Over on the desk, of course, I have the comm and the radio and the transponder because those come out as a unit. I didn't want to take them all apart, but I basically have to turn that little screw there to where it releases the transponder and allows it to slide out of that case. That case is designed so it slides out, and then these little screws, I'll put that unit in, slide that back in, and this should be all ready to go. So I'm about ready to do that. All right, let's see if I can one-hand that without dropping the camera. Slide that back in, maybe not. No, it's going to be a two-hand operation, so I'll be back when it's connected. Well, getting those radios and the VPX out did cause me to have to finish up some items that were still waiting there. The throttle linkage attachment there that holds that in place, as well as the one for the cable. And so those are now secured, feeding through the bulkhead. And I'm thinking right now of putting that cover on. I think I'm going to put that cover on since, no, I can't. I have to put the base on before I put that cover on. So nope, I'm going to hold off on that cover. So let's see what's next. Now I'm just reviewing everything that I've got done here because I believe I'm ready to take and push that harness into the plane, remount the radio, and I got to be a little practice on doing those B and C connections. So I got the coax in for the transponder cable running the RG400 line, and so I think I'm ready to grab onto this and see if I get lucky. So hold on and see if the next picture is something sitting in the plane and something not broken. We'll see if this light keeps working, but boy, am I getting happy with all of this. So far, everything is really going in nicely. Yes, it's tight. The plane is tight, but got to run that now through the wing underneath. That's all ready to wire up the PPS. Lines going out to the servo for the autopilot, and I might have to do a little lengthening on that one set of wires for the servo. The roll set might be just a little on the short side. Right, I'm going to run this set going forward to the forward avionics now. I'm going to call this a pretty successful monumental day because I have everything except the autopilot servos, and then the rest of the engine as far as the CHT and EJT and TAC to hook up as far as this electrical system goes. So it's been a very monumental day. We've got the pitot rerouted because I found it was in the way of some of the wiring. I do need to get that 9-pin connector from Garmin so I can hook up that backup serial to the G3X to go between that GSU-25. These lines here are what hook up to the side switches and the push to talk. I've got to mount the GPS permanently, as well as that grounding block. And then when I get the rest of the wiring for the lights and the lighting for the side consoles and the little interior lighting, I'll put some sheathing over that last bit of wire right there. But we'll be able to button this up. We'll be able to get the side together. Oh, did you notice? For B and C work, I've got the coax that runs back to the verb in, as well as the coax that hooks up the transponder antenna. So I'm actually ready tomorrow to button up the left sidewall there and put those. I got to wire the rest of the switches up, put that in. Not too much more I can do here really, just because now it's just a waiting game to get the engine. I still have the ground unhooked, so I don't have power actually going to this. And these pins are ready to hook up to that PPS, which ought to be pretty exciting to get that all going. We'll see what I get done tomorrow, but I'm considering this a long time coming, a lot of preparation work so that I could get something that looks like this much got done in one day. And it actually is weeks and months worth of work to lead to this. BD5 Pilot's out for now. I'll hopefully see you tomorrow.